A Little Golden Book, Walt Disney's Mary Poppins.
I'll just put this.
All right, here we go. Look at this. Wish your babysitter did all the things she does, huh?
It's a nanny.
Oh, a nanny, I'm sorry. It was morning on Cherry Tree Lane. Admiral Boone had shot off his morning cannon to give the day a proper start. Miss Lark, in the biggest house on the lane, had sent her dog, Andrew, out for his morning stroll. Look at that, dog's running by himself. But in the nursery at number 7 Cherry Tree Lane, Jane and Michael Banks were still in bed. Up, up, said Mary Poppins, their nanny, pulling back the blankets with a firm hand. We have no lounging about on Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious Day. Supercala what? Mary Poppins? Asked Michael. Close your mouth, Michael. We're not codfish. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, of course. You can't think of a word that says just what you want to say. Try supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, and it just describes today. Is that what today was like? That got Jane and Michael up and dressed, and breakfast in record time. Out to the park we go, said Mary Poppins, hurrying them into their hats and coats. Spit spot this way. Oh, look at that. He's quick. He came from there to there.
No. It's just a book.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, sang Jane and Michael as they marched along the lane. They almost bumped into Mary Poppins when she stopped to speak to Andrew, Miss Lark's little dog. Yip yap, said Andrew. Slower, please, said Mary Poppins. I can't understand a word you say. Yip yap yap, said Andrew, slower. Again, said Mary Poppins. Yap yap, said Andrew. Yes, of course, said Mary Poppins. I'll go straight away. Thank you very much. Yap, said Andrew. Then, taking Jane and Michael by the hand, Mary Poppins started off the way Andrew had come. You can talk to that dog? What did he say? Asked Jane. He said, you're welcome, said Mary Poppins. But what else did he say? Jane insisted. Hey, what did the dog say? Exactly. I don't think he said anything at all, said Michael crossly. And I thought we were going for a walk in the park. There's been a change of plans, said Mary Poppins. Come along, please. Don't straggle. She led them at a brisk pace down narrow, twisting streets they had never been before. Then she stopped at the door of a small house. Rip-rap went the parrot's head of handle of Mary Poppins' umbrella. The door was opened by Mary's friend, Bert. How is he? Mary Poppins asked. Bert shook his head. Never seen him like this, he said. And that's the truth. Mary Poppins led Jane and Michael inside the house. They found themselves in a large, cheerful room. In the center stood a table set for tea. Ooh, is tea time? Bless my soul, gurgled a voice rich with chuckles. Is that Mary Poppins? I'm delighted to see you, my dear. Jane and Michael looked about. They could see no one else in the room. Uncle Albert, you promised not to go floating around again. And she seemed to be speaking to the ceiling. Jane and Michael looked up. There, in the air, sat Mary Poppins' Uncle Albert, chuckling merrily. He's floating!
I know how he got up there.
Maybe he's
laughing.
Maybe he's Peter Pan.
No. Laughing.
Oh.
No, he laughing. Laughing.
I know, my dear, said Uncle Albert, wiping a merry eye. I tried, really I did. But I do so enjoy laughing, you know. Here the chuckles bubbled up so that he bobbed his head against the ceiling. And the moment I start, hee, it's all up with me. To the children he whispered, it's laughing that does it, you know. Jane and Michael were trying hard to be polite. They kept their faces straight, but the first laughter sparked out of their eyes. Then it bubbled up their throats and began to chuckle. Now they're gonna float?
No.
You don't know.
No.
By this time, Bert was rolling around, shaking with laughter. As they watched, he rose into the air and soon started bobbing about Uncle Albert.
He went first, and then those two went second, but Mary Poppins held them, and then they went again.
Okay. / our contagious laughter. Michael's chuckle grew to a laugh. So did Jane's. Soon they were simply filled with laughter. It bubbled out, and they felt lighter and lighter until their feet left the floor and they floated up to the ceiling.
How can they up to the ceiling?
Yeah, how nice, said Uncle Albert. I was hoping you'd turn up. You do make yourself comfortable, my dears. I must say you're a sight, the lot of you, said Mary Poppins. Her arms folded in a way that Jane and Michael knew she meant she disapproved. Look how mad she looks. Look at her arms.
No, I meant the left side.
You know, speaking of sights, said Bert, that reminds me of my brother who's actually has a nice cushy job in a watch factory. Is that so? Said Uncle Albert. What does he do? You know what he does, gasped Albert, who was laughing so hard he could scarcely speak. He stands around in this watch factory all day and makes faces. All four of them roared in laughter that they turned somersaults into the air. You thought that was a funny joke? Yeah? Okay.
I'm holding your foot.
Okay, cool.
I
found a horseshoe today, said Bert, holding his sides. You know what that means? I certainly do, said Uncle Albert. It means that some poor horse is walking around his stocking feet. Again, the room rocked with laughter. Only Mary Poppins looked stern. The most disgraceful thing I've ever seen, she snapped. Or my name isn't Mary Poppins. She didn't like the joke. It was kind of a dad joke, but yeah. Speaking of names, said Bert, I know a man with a wooden leg named Smith. Really? Quoted Uncle Albert. What's the name of the other leg? More gusts of laughter. You think that's funny, huh? See, his wooden leg was named Smith. You get it? What was his other leg name called?
I don't know.
Exactly. Now then, Jane, Michael, it's time for tea, said Mary Poppins firmly from below. I will not have my schedule disrupted.
Is it this one hot? Okay.
Look. Oh, please stay, begged Uncle Albert. He pointed to the table on the floor. I have splendid tea waiting for us. If you could manage to get to the table with a rattle and a bump, the table began to jerk. Then it rose through the air. Cups, cakes, teapot, and all. Look at that. That table's flying.
Dad, time to play. What's the...
Look at this. Oh, splendid. Thank you, my dear, said Uncle Albert. Then, to Michael and Jane, keep your feet back, my dears. Watch the cups and mind the jam. Next thing, I suppose you'll be wanting me to pour, said Mary Poppins with a sigh. And then she floated neat as you please without so much as a smile. She's floating too now. She's joined the party.
I'm laughing.
Yo. The others still laughed and bobbled about as Mary Poppins poured and passed the tea, with milk for Michael and Jane. Thank you, my dear, said Uncle Albert. I'm having such a good time. I wish you could stay up here with me always. We'll jolly well have to, Michael grinned.
On his back.
There's no way to get down. Well, to be honest, said Uncle Albert, there is a way. Just think of something sad and go down you go. But who could think of anything sad? They chuckled at the very idea. Time to go home! Mary Poppins' voice, crisp and firm, cut sharply through the laughter. And suddenly, at that sad thought, down came Jane and Michael, Uncle Albert and Bert. Bump, 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 bump on the floor. They all fell down. Goodbye, said Michael. We'll be back soon. Thank you, said Jane soberly. We've had a lovely time. Oh dear, Uncle Albert was sobbing as his waved goodbye. It makes me so sad to see them leave. Back home, Jane and Michael tried to tell their father about their adventure. We floated in the air and had tea on the ceiling, Jane began. And there was this man with a wooden leg named Smith, Mike broke in. Poppins, cried Mr. Banks. What's the meaning of this?
She never explains anything.
Children will be children, sniffed Mary Poppins. And the two were up past their bedtime. Spit, spat. And she marched them off to the nursery, muttering, the very idea. Michael and Jane just looked at each other. Anyway, said Jane, kicking off a slipper, it was supercalifragilisticexpialidocious day.
Ever.
The end.
Mom, I need to tell you something. Ooh, what is in your house?